Good morning, students. Last time in online class, we have already discussed about the effects of the force. है ना? Then the effects due to these effects were it can force can make a stationary object to move. It can change the speed of the moving object, and it can stop the moving object. It can change the direction of the moving object, and it can change the shape of the object. Then when we apply the force, then any one of the effect may be shown by that force, or more than one or two type of the effects can be seen. More than one type of the effect can be seen. Okay, then today we will discuss about the types of the forces. Then forces are of two types. First is the contact force, and the second is the non-contact force, right? Then we will discuss about contact and non-contact force one by one. Then the first is the contact force. In the example discussed so far, a force is exerted when there is a physical contact between the two bodies, right? We have already discussed. For example, a push or a pull. A trolley, we need to make physical contact with it. Such forces that result from the interaction between the two objects in the physical contact, they are physically in contact, then it is called that type of the force is called the contact force. For example, to shut the door, we may push it with the stick, and muscular force and frictions are the example of this. First is the muscular force, and the second we will discuss about the friction. Now see one by one. First is the muscular force. Any force that results from the action of the muscles in our body is called the muscular force. It is due to the action of muscles in our body, right? As pushing, pulling, throwing, kicking, lifting, running, jumping, bending of our body are the example of the muscular force. While we applying muscular force on an object, our body has to be in direct or indirect contact. Thus, the muscular force is a contact force, right? And we have already discussed in the previous classes that in our body, the movement takes place due to the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue or the muscles are responsible to cause the movement in our body. And as it is written here, expand, lung expand and contracts, and heart, we know, relax and relaxation and contraction in the heart, and so many movement in our body takes place due to the muscular force, or the force exerted by the muscles, right? And the animals also use their muscular force to move around, and to carry the people, to pulling the load at as the bullock cart, and a horse, camels, and donkeys, etc. are used for these purposes. They also use their muscular force to perform these all tasks, right? Okay, then since muscular force can be applied only when it is contact in between, when there is the contact in between the objects, right? When an object is in the contact, then only the contact force can be applied, right? Okay, now the second type of the contact force is the friction. Now we will discuss about the friction. Now, for example, a ball is rolling on the ground. This ball is rolling on the ground. Okay, this is rolling the ground and slows down, and finally it stops on its own. A bicycle eventually come to the rest when you stop paddling. We find it difficult to push a heavy box across the floor. These all are the example where friction work, right? Okay, then see, a car or a scooter also come to the rest once its engine is switched off. Similarly, a boat comes into the rest if we stop rowing. Can you add some more example? Okay, then so many examples are there. है ना? Uh, and the one more example is that when you are on a swing, you are on a swing, and your friend pushes you, and now you start swing. Then after some time you stop. Then what is that? Which stop you. That is the friction. That is, this may be the friction of the air, and sometimes it may be the friction of the ground and the object which is moving over it, है ना? Okay. Then this invisible type of the force which is acting between the surface in contact, and sometime with the air and water also apply that type of the force. This friction slows down the this friction slows down moving object, है ना, and prevent object to become to come in rest or from the moving condition. That force act at a point of the contact between the two surfaces, where the two surfaces are in contact. Suppose this is a bicycle, these are the wheel, and this is the road. Then friction will act here. The direction of the friction and the cycle is moving. If the cycle is moving in this direction, then the direction of the force will be, this friction will be opposite, because it opposes the motion. That's why the direction will be in the opposite direction of the motion. Okay, then the friction, or we can say the force that opposes motion when two surfaces are in contact, or they are moving or tend to move with respect to each other, then this force is called friction or frictional force. What you will call it? Friction or frictional force, right? Okay. Now, next is, I told you the direction is just opposite. You know? Now, see, next force, that is uh, next type of the force is the non-contact force. Then not all forces result from the interaction between the two bodies in physical contact. For example, a ball thrown up eventually comes down. It happens because of the gravitational force. है ना? Who is that which is pulling it back downward? It is the gravitational force. है ना? There is no contact between this ball and this surface which is applying the force. Even though they are not in the direct contact, but still the force is attracting this ball. Something is attracting this ball towards downside. Such forces that arise due to the interaction between the object that are not in physical contact, such type of the force are called non-contact forces. Right? Non-contact force act from a distance, and the example are the magnetic force. Magnetic force is the example, and the second example is the gravitational force. Gravitational force. And third example, also I have one more example, that is the yes, it is electrostatic force. It is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force. Then these are three are the example of the non-contact force: magnetic force, and second is gravitational force, and third I told you which one. Third one is the electrostatic, gravitational, and magnetic. Now see, one by one. The first is the magnetic force. Now there is an activity. In this activity, you can see we are having two bar magnets. You have to take two bar magnets, place the longer side of one of the magnet over three rounded shaped pencils or the wooden rollers. Now bring one end of the another magnet near to the end of the magnet. Now see, in this condition, in the first one, we can see opposite poles are coming to each other. This is one, maybe the north, this is north, and this is the south pole. Now in this condition, both will attract to each other, both magnet will come to each other. Now in this you can see both are the same poles. This is also blue, this is side also blue, then both are the same type of the poles. Then they in this case, force or repulsion will act. In the first one, attraction, force of attraction is working, and the second case, repulsion takes place. Both will go apart from each other. Then both type of the forces can be seen in the magnetic force. It means it may be of force of attraction, it may be the force of repulsion.